Ingenuity and money, the untold story of Google's dazzling success. Picture this, it's 1996. The internet is a wild, unorganized mess. Searching for something online is like trying to find a needle in a haystack. We had AOL, Yahoo, and Netscape, but none of them were truly effective. People were frustrated, businesses were struggling to reach the right audience, and the idea of truly finding anything on the internet seemed like a distant dream. But then, two graduate students from Stanford University looked at this mess and saw opportunity. They didn't just want to build another search engine. No, they wanted to revolutionize the way we find information. They wanted to create something that was faster, smarter, and more intuitive than anything the world had ever seen. Think about it, a couple of young engineers, barely out of school, with no money, no big investors, and no guarantee of success. Yet, in just a few years, they would go on to build a company worth over $1 trillion and change the course of history. They didn't just build a search engine, they built the backbone of the internet itself. So, what made their idea so different? What was it that propelled them from a small Stanford project to a global powerhouse? Why did Google go from a humble university research project to dominating the world in just a few short years? It wasn't just luck, it was ingenuity. It was vision. And it was a series of brilliant, risky decisions that turned Google into the empire we know today. In the next few minutes, we're going to dive into the untold story of Google's rise to power. We'll uncover the secrets of their success, the mistakes they made, and how their journey teaches us lessons about vision, risk, and innovation, lessons you can use to unlock your own path to success. Trust me, you don't want to miss this story. Stick around, and you'll learn how two visionary minds turned a simple idea into a multi-billion-dollar company that changed the world forever. And just maybe, you'll discover the blueprint for creating your own empire. Now, let's break down the core innovations that not only set Google apart from the competition but catapulted it to unimaginable success. You see, when most companies would have been satisfied with a good product or service, Google went a step further. They didn't just create a better search engine. They redefined the entire business model. In 2000, Google made a groundbreaking decision. They introduced Google Ads, a system that revolutionized online advertising. Traditional ads on TV, radio, and print required companies to pay upfront, with no guarantees of success. Google, however, flipped the script. With Google Ads, advertisers only paid when someone clicked on their ad. This became known as the pay-per-click model. The result? A more effective, measurable, and efficient advertising system that businesses quickly embraced. Why was this so powerful? Because Google created a model that worked for both businesses and users. For businesses, it was about targeting the right audience at the right time and only paying for results. For users, it meant seeing ads that were more relevant to their interests, instead of random, irrelevant banner ads. But Google didn't stop there. In 2006, they made one of their most daring and controversial moves. They acquired YouTube for $1.65 billion. At the time, many critics thought they had overpaid for a site that wasn't even profitable. YouTube was a platform still in its infancy, with just a fraction of the views it gets today. Now, fast forward to today, YouTube is the second most visited website in the world, with over 2 billion logged-in monthly users. And Google turned that $1.65 billion acquisition into a billion-dollar powerhouse. That's the power of foresight. Google didn't just acquire a company, they saw a growing trend. Video content was the future, and they positioned themselves to dominate it. Then came Android. In 2005, Google acquired a small startup called Android Incorporated for just $50 million. At the time, smartphones were a niche market, with only a handful of devices competing for attention. But Google understood the potential of mobile computing. By 2010, Android became the most popular mobile operating system in the world, powering over 85% of smartphones globally. Android's success didn't happen by chance. Google saw the mobile revolution coming before most others. And with the acquisition of Android, they didn't just control a product, they controlled an entire ecosystem. The result? Billions of Android-powered devices sold globally every year. That's how Google was able to dominate not just search, but mobile technology as well. Most people don't think of Google as a cloud company, but they've quietly become a major player in that space. Google Cloud, which includes everything from storage to data analytics to AI tools, is rapidly growing and challenging Amazon Web Services and Microsoft Azure. While the search engine and advertising side of Google are still the dominant revenue streams, their cloud division is projected to be one of the biggest drivers of growth in the next decade. And here's the thing, Google doesn't just rest on its past successes. They're constantly thinking about the next big thing. From artificial intelligence and machine learning to self-driving cars through their subsidiary, Waymo, Google is always on the cutting edge of technology. Their investments in innovation aren't just about catching the next wave, they're about creating that wave. Each of these decisions, whether it was monetizing search, acquiring YouTube, or getting ahead of the mobile and cloud markets, showed that Google was playing a long-term game. They weren't just thinking about today, they were thinking about tomorrow, and that's the key to their success. What makes Google so remarkable is that they didn't just innovate in one area, they built an entire ecosystem. Search, advertising, mobile, video, cloud, AI, they created an interconnected world of services that work together seamlessly, making Google indispensable to billions of people. So, what can we take away from Google's incredible rise to the top? Beyond the headlines and the billion-dollar valuations, there are key lessons that anyone, whether you're building a tech startup, a business, or pursuing personal wealth, can learn from Google's journey. Lesson number 1: think long-term, not just short-term. Google didn't build their empire overnight. They didn't launch their search engine, make a little bit of money, and call it a day. They were always thinking about the future. From the early days, they didn't just want to make a search engine, they wanted to organize the world's information. Their mission wasn't about quick profits, it was about creating a lasting impact on the world. Google's founders didn't just focus on what would make money today, they focused on what would make them an indispensable part of society in the future. This kind of long-term thinking is crucial if you want to build something that lasts. It's about focusing on value, not just revenues. Lesson number 2: take smart risks. Every major decision Google made was a calculated risk. When they acquired YouTube for $1.65 billion, it seemed absurd to many. Yet, they saw something that others didn't: the growing demand for video content. When they bought Android, the smartphone market was still young, but Google saw the long-term potential in mobile computing. They didn't play it safe, they took risks, and many of those risks paid off. And here's the key: Google didn't just take risks for the sake of it. They didn't jump into every opportunity. They waited for the right opportunities, those that aligned with their long-term vision. The lesson here is simple: if you want to build something big, you need to take bold, smart risks. Don't be afraid to invest in the future, even if it feels uncertain. The bigger the risk, the bigger the reward. Lesson number 3: solve problems that others aren't solving. Google didn't become successful just because they had a better search engine. They became successful because they identified a fundamental problem no one else had solved. In the 1990s, searching the web was inefficient, frustrating, and not user-friendly. Google didn't just want to improve it, they wanted to completely change how we accessed information. Sergey Brin and Larry Page didn't look at the internet and think, how can we build another search engine? They asked, how can we organize all the information in the world and make it accessible instantly to anyone? That shift in perspective is what allowed them to create Google. And that's a key lesson for anyone building wealth: identify problems others don't see, or haven't been able to solve, and then work tirelessly to create a solution. It's not always about being the best at something, it's about solving the right problem. Lesson number 4: don't be afraid of failure. Google didn't always get it right. For every success, there were setbacks. Google Glass? Didn't take off. Google Wave? A total failure. But the key is, Google wasn't afraid to experiment, to fail, and to learn from those failures. Failure wasn't an endpoint, it was part of the process. Failure is not the enemy of success, it's often the gateway to it. Each failure, each mistake Google made along the way, gave them the insights and the knowledge to improve and grow. So, don't be afraid of failure. Embrace it, learn from it, and move forward with even more determination. And finally, lesson number 5: embrace innovation and constant learning. Google's success didn't come from standing still. They constantly adapted, innovated, and challenged themselves to think bigger, smarter, and faster. From launching Google Search to pioneering AI and self-driving cars, Google never stopped innovating. They didn't just follow trends, they created them. If you want to succeed like Google, you need to adopt this mindset. Don't just settle for what's working today, always be looking for what's next. Always be willing to adapt, innovate, and push the boundaries of what's possible. So, as you think about your own path to success, remember Google's story. Their success wasn't based on one lucky break, it was built on a foundation of vision, innovation, risk-taking, and a relentless drive to solve problems. These are the same principles that can help you unlock your own potential and achieve greatness in any area of your life. Now, it's your turn to build your own empire. Just remember, success doesn't come from doing what everyone else is doing, it comes from thinking differently, acting boldly, and learning relentlessly. Are you ready to start?